Hey everyone, back up north, ready for a busy weekend of work, building my bonsai oasis. Welcome to Bonsai Acres. Welcome to Bonsai Acres. Very excited. By now, you all know that when I first get up here, one of the first couple things I do is one, look at the trees, but two, I have to unpack everything from my car. And in this case, again, you got it, another trailer full of stuff. Now the trailer is full of a lot of wood, and some of the wood is not new. It's actually torn down wood from one of my bonsai benches from my backyard. What's that all about? Well, you're gonna have to wait a little bit before I tell you more about that. But I've got all this wood up here and I'm gonna repurpose it all because I'm gonna build myself a bench here inside the shed, as well as finishing the skirting this weekend. So I have to sort through. There's some wood that I'm not even gonna be using because it's so rotted out and gross. So we'll let that dry up and we'll burn that in the fire pit. But we're in the shed and we're gonna do some construction this weekend. Now, the skirting in the back row will be done before I go home this weekend. It's my last weekend before I become a teacher again, y'all. Yep, the summer is just about over for this guy. But I'm gonna get that skirting done back there. That'll be nice to have it all enclosed in. Now, it's pretty high back there. So I also, of course, will be going back and forth at least a dozen to 20 times with the trailer and the ATV to make sure I get some more dirt in there to cover all that up. We'll get all this middle section later. But after that's done, I'm kind of excited to build the next organizational structure here within Bonsai Acres inside the shed so I can become as organized as possible for regardless of what happens up here, with people, without people, me, myself, and I. I'm gonna build myself a workbench over there, and I think I have enough repurposed leftover and a few new pieces for some sturdy foundation to build myself a really nice long workbench so I can keep things organized and have a place to work. The first order of business, of course, is to make a few cuts to put down skirting. Okay, so in my quest to be organized, I'm going to build a shelf over there today I just discussed. But before that, I was going to work on the skirting, which needs long measurements I don't have my tape measure. Yeah, whoopsie weiss in action, but the thing is I didn't bring it home with me. It should be here. I used it the last time I was up here. I've got a lot of stuff on this temporary workbench, but where's the tape measure? I've been into the trailer twice, the car twice, the shed 3 times, looking all the way around. So it's not a case of me not opening up enough drawers to find a pair of socks or something. Oh. Whoopsie weiss. Never fear, I do have a solution to my problem. So I have this 100-foot measuring tape that I'm using for the grounds. 100 feet is a long way. I don't need that for in here, right? And so from the edge of this little loop here, I tie and put a nail right there, tap, 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 put a nail right there, and then stretch this out to the beam and see where I have to go, and I get my measurement. It's a little bit more work. It's not quite as precise, or maybe it's more precise because this is on a nice spot with a hammer and a nail right there. And so I stretched that out. I got 9 feet 6 inches for my first cut. So now I can go ahead and make my first cuts for real. Okay, we got the brown cedar tone wood on the back of the shed. Now, the first couple boards went on pretty easily, nice and relatively plumb. But on this side over here, now they must have had some kind of, well, you know, tractor accident or something or other. And there's a little push out to the building on that side between the 2 4x6 posts. So there's a little bit of a bow in it. So I had to shave some of the top of the board and kind of make it fit the best I could. Now there's some gaps in there. We'll go ahead and put in some spray insulation in there to keep critters out more. We'll fix that up. Plus the 2x6s now will be in here, and we'll get that as plumb as possible. And again, all of this will provide extra support for the structure and be able to have us put this fill right up to the grade level. Well, just like that, the 2x6s are in place. Don't you wish it happened in life that fast? Yeah, quick edit, and here we are. But there are a few issues. So I have the 2x6 over here that's butted up against the 2x6 in the corner from the east wall. And as I looked at it, and you look at the board in the outside, the brown board, it's quite a bit lower than out there. As I walk east to west, it gets worse. So I put this in relatively level all the way across, but because this was so massive on this side, it is a full 6 inches out of whack. Now, I don't know if this shelf structure is out of whack or the whole structure is out of whack that much, but I think it's the whole structure. I don't know how they got plumb walls up with it being the ground grade level over there is 6 inches higher than it is over there. So we're going to have kind of a sloping garage, if you will. Now I'll make the garage shed area level, but I can't even attach the brown wood from outside. I can't attach that to this like I have been with a little bit of, you know, a couple of 2x6s going out there for supports, because right now it's just going to touch air until we get way down to that end. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to get all 3 more 2x6s and I'm going to double stack here. So I'm going to do 2x6, 2x6, and down there, it starts as 2 by 6, but then it goes down to about 2 by 4-ish. So a little bit of a conundrum here, but that actually is a good thing because I really don't want to get more dirt anyway. I've done that all summer long, and I really would like to make a workbench. So hey, we're going to make a workbench next. I want to have a workbench from this 4 by 6 all the way to the front of the shed. So that's going to be a 20-foot system, 20-foot workbench. So I will bring some 2 by 6s out here or up here with the angle cuts and all that, and I will make a bench. So let me get my measuring stuff up and get going here on the workbench. This is pretty secure the way it is, right? I can sit on here no problem because I have 1, 2, 3, 4 brackets, and these go all the way to the front. These, like I said, 4 inches shy. We'll get a 4 by 4 post. We'll put a little cinder block on the ground there, and that'll be nice and secure, and nothing's going to move there. So it's a little bit deeper than a standard workbench that I'm used to, but I have a big shed, lots of space. And when I have stuff here that might have drawers, I mean, I can just reach the back wall, which is nice for hanging stuff, a little bit of a reach. But if I have stuff stacked up there, I have plenty of place to work. So that's my theory on that. So it comes out to be right at 3 feet with this, this 2 by 6. All right, recycled wood from the bonsai bench at the yard on the right-hand side of my yard. These were over 9 feet long, 10-foot boards originally. And so look at that. After cutting out the old drill holes, these are now fresh boards, except for a couple middle ones, but they're just going to seal up and be no problem. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fit in there with a little gap in between, which means I can throw some electricity in there if I need to. And if I ever close off this wall, I'll be able to work with that. So I'm going to put the first one on, do the old nail for a little gap in each one so any water and dust can be easily gone through to the bottom there. So time to put that on, and we have ourselves a workbench. Oh yeah, there you go. Not a bad late morning pre-lunch job here. The skirting's all done, and I just constructed this 3-foot by 9-foot workbench. And you know, it's kind of like George Carlin used to say. You remember George Carlin back in the day? You know, he had that comedy bit about stuff. If you want to see a funny bit about how we just have a whole bunch of stuff, me included. I'm trying to live a more minimalistic life, but we all have stuff, and we end up getting like storage garages to put all more of our stuff. Well, I get to put more of my stuff up here and try to be organized. So this is fantastic. I'm super excited. So a work area plus some room to store some stuff. So I'll probably put a board up here, crisscross here. I might even put this leftover 2 by 4 or this 2 by 6 right here. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Everything is, of course, more support for the structure, but then I can put some hooks on there, some nails on there, and hang up some tools or whatever I might have. So that could go up there. So if I put some bins up here, this gives me still 2 feet to work with wood. all the way up to, yeah, just really a lot of space. So we'll get some stuff up there for storage. I think it's time for lunch, so we will take a break and see what the day brings us. It's gonna be a little hot and sticky yet today. Only in the 70s though, and it gets cooler towards the weekend. I will get a couple of loads of dirt before the day is done, just because I've got to get 3 or 4 or a few every single trip up here. So we'll secure a little bit of that bottom back over there. But I'm feeling good. We got a bench. It's time to eat, y'all. So I'm sneaking up on a white-tailed deer. Probably gonna take off when I get too close. Nice thing about a kayak is I'm relatively quiet. Hey there. Look at those ears, straight up. Tail is wiggling. Hey there. You're a big mama. You're a big deer. Tail's up, she hasn't bolted yet. Okay, well, I'm gonna keep paddling. We'll maybe see you on the flip side. Or not. Yeah, that's the first deer I've seen on the river. Got my fishing pole. We're gonna be dropping some lines in a few minutes here. Gonna get up around that corner where I saw some fish jumping before, but that was cool to see her so close, and she was very curious. Didn't know what to think about me approaching from the water. Quiet, but pretty cool. All right, let's keep paddling. I brought my fishing pole this time, so I'm hoping to get a few casts in. And while I zoomed into this more quiet session, something like, I'm talking huge, you know, fish story, like way back, okay, something huge just all of a sudden went in kind of a shallow area. I must have came up on it and just spooked it. It was a fish. I don't know what it was, but I can't wait to get the line in. Okay, we made it downriver to the corner where I saw those kayakers a couple weeks back. And there's that orange sign over there that says caution, warning, some rapids downriver. So right down that end there's some signage. That is the Abandoned State Park. And while I was filming here last time, some fish were jumping behind me. So we're gonna start right here, throw a couple lines in and see what we get. Now what are the odds that I catch a fish on film for y'all to see? We taking wagers? Put down in the comments, everybody. How many fish will I catch on this trip? Will I catch any fish on this trip? It's not the best time to fish, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but it's after, well, look at there. Second cast, everybody. Unbelievable. I did not know what I would catch on this river, if anything. And look at this. I caught me a fish on camera. Let's see if I can get in the boat. Well, hey there. So I did see a fish down there earlier. Oh, they're really slimy this time of the year. I noticed that up at the cabin. There we go, everybody. We got, he does not want to be held. We got ourselves a little northern pike. This is almost in that hammer handle size, but there we go. Second cast, everybody. We'll let him go because you know what? Where there's small ones, there's bigger ones. I can't believe I caught a fish on the second cast. Did y'all have even a second or two to put your guess down in the comments? All right, we're just gonna stay right here and throw a couple more. I'm just gonna leave the camera on for a few more. Woohoo! Oh my gosh, you guys, I don't believe that. I mean, I'm an okay fisherman, but I've never been on the river with a rod. Don't know what's in here. Obviously northern. I think the big thing I saw downriver, or upriver actually, might have been a carp. Now, of all the days of paddleboarding at the cabin and fishing and catching big pike and bass, what I saw turn over there by me when I kind of snuck up on it had to be 24 to 36 inches long and really thick. So it looked like a carp. And it just took an about-face turn. It was just wicked. It kind of freaked me out. But, all right. Let's see what else we can get. Now we're kind of floating upriver. Oh no, yeah, we're going upriver with the current now because the wind is not taking us away. So this is going to go upriver for a little bit. Let's try that again. Now, one of the nice things about being in a kayak is a couple of paddles, and it's like a trolling motor. I just get a couple of paddles in there, and I can put myself where I want to be. So those of you into fishing, I'm using this little, I forget what it's called, like a chatterbait. Got this little spoon up top here. It kind of makes it wobble. A little bit of a kind of a rubber worm there with a big tail, big old hook. What we use up at the cabin a lot, it's just a spinner bait. The blues really work well. Some of the chartreuses, little orange and green here. So this is a little bit smaller. I thought I would have to go with that one, but here I caught one on my second cast with this big one. So we'll leave it on and see what's going on down the river here. And as I float down the middle, I'm not expecting to have a ton of bites in the middle, but what I'm going to be doing is looking for some structure. So structure being a fallen tree, some rocks, any weeds, where, you know, northern or the bigger fish are hiding, just waiting for something like this to come out of nowhere and boom! So no luck the last 5 to 10 minutes or so. We're coming out into an opening here where the wind's going to push me down, and then the division on either side of the grass coming up ahead. And so if we go to the left, that'll be where the fish kind of swirled at the end of the grass. But it's really shallow for a while there. I'm wondering if I should go to the other side. But the fish was on the shallow side. But the overhang looks good on the right. I don't know. Let's see where the river takes us. Now I'm super close to where I scared that fish about an hour and a half ago. Would it still be there? No. Will another one be there? Maybe. We're just gonna slowly cruise down this section and just hope for the best. My GoPro battery ran its course with all the casts I got without fish. So I've got the phone on and it fits nicely in my pontoon. I was gonna say pontoon, my kayak right the way it is, so it's the long way, not the wide way. My apologies for that. But if I were to land a really big one right now in this quest, in this spot, I don't care what angle the camera is, I'll be able to show you what I got real quickly without fumbling around so much. Whoa, there's a fish on. He's a bit late. Man, he just took my skirt off. And look at that. Proof that I caught another fish. I'm surprised he's not wobbled out of here yet, so let's put him back. Oh, yeah. A little fish on the river. Not the best camera work there in the beginning, but I just pushed start and hoped he stayed on, and he was about as big as that first one I caught. One got off, I got two in the boat. This is fantastic, y'all. So as we approach the bridge in the car, one more piece of nature to the left of that log. Blue heron. A little suspicious of me. He hasn't taken off yet. Yeah, he took off while I was rowing. I missed him. So I just went for my dip, y'all, and as I was doing that, a fisherman who had just put his boat in the water, was ready to go down the river, so I had a chance to talk to him. That big fish that I thought, 24 to 36 inches, he said probably a sturgeon. He said there's plenty in the river here, and the largest he's caught on this river, sturgeon, 40 inches. So what I saw basking on the bottom most likely was a sturgeon. Oh man, it was huge. So it was nice to have a little validation that this guy has caught in some fish like that in here. Said a lot of walleye here too, if you can find them in some of the deeper sections. Very sandy, very rocky. Walleye, love it. I haven't fished walleye in a long time. I'll have to learn how to do that again. All right, take a little dip. It is time to go get some dinner. Good morning, everyone. I've been at it for a couple of hours already. The trailer works now. Now, I had a little snafu with the four-wheeler. The battery died out on me, so when I went into town yesterday, I got myself a charger, which would be good to have on the property. Charged up the battery. I got the trailer and the ATV in working order. And so this morning, I went ahead and moved 12 trailer fulls of dirt. I got a couple over there by the workbench, and then 10 of them spread out right about here. My goal for today is to get this section as flat and level as possible so I can see where the cold frame is going to go. And it's going to go right over there where most of that dirt is. So we're going to rake all that out next, and we're going to rake out here so when I come up to my workbench, it doesn't feel like it's up to my chest. I want to be standing about this tall here. So we'll get a couple more loads of dirt here after these are flattened out. Now the big elephant in the room is this right here. Yeah, so I was too lazy to move that last time. Well, now it's catching up with me. Now I have to move all that stuff off of that pallet so I can go ahead and begin the raking process in the shed to see if we can get a leveled off back corner for the cold frame. Well, I'll tell you one thing, I certainly like raking better than digging the dirt and putting it in the trailer. It went much faster. 12 trailer loads of dirt smoothed out in less than 10 minutes. And then the ATV to go over it a couple of times to kind of packed it down because, my little dance moves back and forth with my feet just ain't gonna do it long term. So it's looking pretty good. So this is actually pretty close to grade right here. I wouldn't go any higher with this kind of dirt. I would do the driveway gravel, the garage gravel I'm thinking about ordering and putting that down for an inch or two max. And then that would be a good thing to drive on, or just go right with the gravel right away. And then we're gonna go ahead and put some stakes in the ground, and we're gonna stake out the 8x12 or 6x12. I'm not certain what I'm gonna do. 8x12, of course, is better for building because it's all even with your 4x8 panels. You just go 4x8, 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 and 4x8, 4x8. Boom, you're done. It's a 12x8. And that'll give me a lot of room. And every time I build something, anybody remember passive solar green frame videos? If you haven't, go check out Dave's Bonsai, the passive solar green frame. I'll put a link here to that beast. I built that thing in the summer a few years back. And what did I say when I was all done? I wish I had a foot wider. So instead of 12x6, do I go 12x8? So a couple more trailers full, maybe 3 or 4 today, and then I might call it for trailer fulls today. And then we'll start staking this thing out. That's getting exciting. It's 12 o'clock in the North Country and the storms, a little questionable. The radar is pretty heavy south of me, but as you do future forecasts, we know those aren't always accurate. It looks like it's going to be maybe a little rain, but not a lot of high activity or intensity here at the property. So I've picked up over 20 trailer fulls of dirt. Now I'm going to show you what's going on, where I'm getting those from, and kind of how this is all playing out. So let's take a little ride, shall we? There we go. Let's do it. Okay, so our first pit stop is where the 16 by 16 shower slash bath house will be constructed. So there's kind of a pit, a hole where I've been digging for the last couple of sessions. So you can see we're getting a nice little kind of a square shape here. It's about 16 by 16. Haven't measured it for a while, but it's all relatively level relative there. And that's just going to be where I'm going to put the foundations, and then we'll throw some dirt back in. We want to go at least 36 inches down for frost line stuff, maybe even further. So this is kind of a head start. We'll still dig 6 more holes, if not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that might be 9 holes here for foundations, plenty strong. And so that's going to be dug here. So a lot of the sand and dirt have come from right here. Now we've arrived at the top of the hill, the highest point on the property, and this is where the proposed cabin's going to go. So we have a stake in the ground over here, we have a stake in the ground back over here, there's a tipped over stake over here, and there's one right in front of us here. So right in here, it's going to be about a 12 wide by 24 minimum, probably 28 cabin. And so we had the big digger in here getting a lot of loose dirt. So some of this recent pile right here was just nice and easy. So this is the second location that I've been digging on this weekend to kind of flatten everything out here and get the semblance of where the foundations will go next year. That's not till next year. So we're just digging holes right now to put all the dirt back at the shed. And that gets us back where we started from, which is the shed. So let's talk about the shed a little bit. Now, I wanted to get a couple of loads. I got 3 more loads for the side of the shed because every time I'm up here, I want to make sure that I'm making the side of the shed looking more presentable. So we did the rocks last time, and so 3 loads of dirt got me about another 8 to 10 feet. It's coming down nice, and we'll go get some more rocks today. And we'll finish the day off with putting some rocks here so when the rain comes down from the roof, y'all, it'll splash on the rocks and not on the shed. Wow. The rain came. And the rain went. And as I just finished this work over here, too bad I didn't get any rocks over here to prevent those splashing right there. But it's good to get it wet to help tamp it down a little bit too. So I was able to put a couple stakes in the ground inside the shed, 12 by 8. Measuring tape all the way around to give a little bit of a semblance of a box there. And that does take up quite a lot of space in here. But again, this is Bonsai Acres, and I want to be very comfortable in this room when I walk in this room to take care of plants. And one thing I preach all the time is if you're going to build anything, make sure you have easy access. So I don't want to say I want a foot bigger later. I'd rather say it's a little too big, and I'll be able to walk in there and have space. So as I come underneath here, and if you can imagine me inside the cold frame, I can stretch out my hands and I won't be able to touch either side of the wall. And I'll be able to have a 2-foot bench on this side, 3 tall, and a 2-foot bench, maybe 18. And then if I need something in the middle, I could always do that. And then on the end, I'll also have some space too and have a big old door up here. So there you go. We have it all mapped out. I think we'll be in good shape. I think I'll make it 8 by 12. Incidentally, the rains were quite heavy. Got some footage of how heavy it was coming down for a moment there. And of course, I do have a couple of leaky spots. Yeah. We got to fix that next year. I hope it makes one more winter. Toby and I will get up on the roof and we'll fix that center covering up there because we've got some leaks. So I don't think the rain is going to happen much anymore. Maybe a sprinkle later on in the day, but right now I'm going to be kind of in here working on a few things. So I have another project. I'm going to see how it's going to go and maybe we'll film some of it for you. So the metal grate in front of the ATV has no wall on their side to keep things in, so I wanted to build a basket. Well, lo and behold, I have all this extra wood, and this is this brown treated, you know, the cedar tone, so it's even good in the weather. If it gets wet, it won't just rot right away. So I got this on the outsides, extra pieces around a 2x4 frame, and it can shift a little bit because it's within, I tucked it underneath the metal frame there a little bit. But there we go. Now, there is still holes underneath here for stuff to fall through. However, I think it's gonna be really good for carrying things, such as, if I wanted to fill a couple of buckets of mulch, I can put that in there. And then I can have a bungee cord here and bungee cord it so it won't fall around a lot, but it shouldn't fall over. So I might want to put something that's solid down there, but for right now I won't, because it's probably going to be for carrying logs, twigs, things, I don't know. But if I ever do want to put something down there, it would be for my gloves, right? Because if I just put those gloves in there, well, yeah, that's going to happen. Whoops. So I've got the rim of the 2x4 right here. So if I need to cut a piece of wood that would fit into that frame, I would have a solid basket piece. And then I could put some stuff in there like my drinks and my gloves and so on and so forth. It wouldn't be very deep then, but it'd be still enough to kind of hold things. I'm not running around on this thing that crazy to create a lot of things popping in and out of there. So we'll see if I have enough extra wood to do something like that. And there we go. And now we have a basket for, well, for more stuff. After all, the whole theme this weekend is organizing my stuff. Whoopsie Weiss is at it again. The gear shaft was in reverse when I built the basket, so let's put it in gear. Oh no. Reverse. Barely gets into low, but it's not even close to high, so guess what? Oh boy, what a bummer. All right, Sawzall, y'all. There you have it, the nice curve shape there. Let's see if we can get this thing started here. Well, that's reverse. All right. Oh, yeah. Now, if I go too aggressively, I'm going to hit my hand on this quite often, but at least it'll work. Sawzall to the rescue, y'all. Thank goodness that worked. Woohoo! As I woke up on day 3 to what was probably the first, what I would say, crisp fall morning at 55 degrees, it was time to pack up after another successful trip at Bonsai Acres. I couldn't help but pause and reflect as I walked the property this morning. For it was just over a year ago that I turned and said, "Welcome to Bonsai Acres." A lot has happened since then. The first trees are in the ground. I've cleaned up the shed. We have a fire pit. I discovered I have apples on the property. And regardless of what I've done so far and what I'll do in the future, I'm just very excited at how, whenever I'm up here, I'm at peace. Working, relaxing, playing in the water. I'm just very, very much at peace up here at Bonsai Acres. In this current chapter of my life, I can't think of a better place to be. I look forward to next year's build of the cabin, maybe the shower house, a gazebo. And I'm so very excited to one day share this with everyone. Perhaps someone will be sitting in the chair next to me, talking bonsai, and ready to kick off a work session. Until soon. Welcome to Bonsai Acres. Very excited.